us light.
Welcome, everybody, once again to the Entheogenic Roots Podcast. We are here with a very honorable and esteemed guest that I'm elated to have, and I am grateful to have in order to spotlight and to share what we're here to do and what we want to bring to the masses as far as what's taking place within this entheogenic revolution that we're in right now, especially within the BIPOC community, the indigenous, and those of us of melanated inheritance. It's something that has been taking place in the underground for a while. Myself, as you all know, I've been involved within this particular entheogenic culture and with ayahuasca in particular since 2002, back when I had my first cup of medicine. It was in Kauai. I was introduced after my mother passed away, which was an amazing healing journey into my grieving process, and it revealed so much and brought me to the next level. And so we are, with our podcast and with our vision, are bringing together people within the diaspora, BIPOC individuals, who have also stumbled upon this amazing gift that comes from the deep jungles of the Amazon and other entheogens as well, not just ayahuasca, but we're focusing on that within this particular series and season that we're offering to you. And there's a lot that's been going on. There's a lot that you've all been hearing about that's been taking place within the underground and in the mainstream even. It's come to that point where people are now partaking, up in the upper echelons of society and within different groups that back in the days when I began, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. But I knew, the mother did tell me that this day would come and that it was going to be time to be prepared and to get ready for this type of era, with this, the ethos that's been changing around all of this. So things are coming back to us, and we are re-representing the roots and the reality of the foundation of what these medicines have always been doing and what they've done for us in our cultures, before colonialism. We've got to understand that this is something that's been involved in our, histories, within our genealogies, throughout the world. All melanated people have had an access point into the entheogenic plant medicines and have used them. And so I'm excited. I just love to be in this space and to share these stories in this modern era and to see where they're taking us and to offer some guidance and counsel as well as to move, how to move with respect and with awareness and with ethics as well. That way we keep everybody safe and we really awaken and heal what needs to be. So I'm here again with Harry Smith. Thank you so much for coming through.
I appreciate
your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And please introduce yourself, introduce your story, share with us everything that you've come to share.
My goodness. My name is Harry Smith. I'm a Taurus.
Lovely.
Born and raised in Philadelphia, middle class upbringing. The 70s and 80s were a wonderful, wonderful time. It was beautiful. And went to high school and a public high school and really was able to experience all the best and the worst of inner city living.
I know it.
Much of that stuff we didn't know it was bad. It was just what it was.
Exactly.
So playing basketball on the courts and trying to get the pretty girls and it was just I didn't know I had trauma until I was in my 30s. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, that's not trauma. That's a Thursday.
Right. Right.
So I think just being able to be a part of the Black culture, breakdancing, rap music in its inception, mm-hmm. The style, we had a lot of pride.
Yes.
And we weren't scared. Like we were, it was dangerous, but we were living and enjoying life. And I think, as we get older and as we have more experiences and, then once you have kids, it's a whole nother thing. But I've always loved being Black. Like it was just like, why would anybody want to be anything else other than Black? Like it's beautiful. Obviously it comes with its challenges, especially in America, but being a Black man in America is just been awesome. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean, you know, constantly being persecuted, being prosecuted, being, you know, the 6 warning shots in the back is just something that's like, come on, like it is, and it seems like it's at an epidemic level now. Like, and unfortunately, we've fallen for it, so we're killing us as much as everybody else is now. So we done fell for the thing. So I also think that, you know, I've committed my life to assisting people finding their peace, their love, their joy, trying to alleviate some of this pain and suffering that's going on. And doing that, you know, counseling is always great. But this plant medicine, dude, it has been, it's the single greatest decision I've ever made in my life. And I like to think I made I made some crappy decisions. I made a lot of crappy decisions. But I've also made a couple good ones.
Right.
But this one is, it's the single greatest decision, like, you know, turn left or turn right, that I've ever made in my life. I went to a black college, which up until ayahuasca was my best decision I ever made. I went to Hampton University in Virginia.
Nice.
I have a degree in accounting. I can't imagine I could have had a better time doing anything else anywhere else. But that's the first time I saw what black excellence really meant. You know, it's like watching the Cosby Show. You know, you see that, but we never, you know, working class parents, you don't think that, hey, the mother's a politician and the father's a lawyer, or the mother's a doctor and the father is a CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
That was so out of my reach, out of my view. Like Puba said, I can relate to the good times, and Cosby's only sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but seeing it on scale.
Right.
Like, you black, you had 16, you got a Porsche for your 16th birthday?
Right.
What, you went to the thing and y'all vacation in the Hamptons? Like, really? I've never been to the Hamptons. Mm-hmm. So I think I've just been really, really blessed to have experiences that have just been amazing. And I think being able to travel with my brother has also been fantastic. It's been phenomenal. But it's so in 2019, a 10-year relationship ended with my son's mother, and it was catastrophic for me. So not only personally did my life collapse, but business and everything. It fell apart. And
now we're going to go into how you were introduced.
Correct.
To the medicine.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Tell us about that.
So as a family, we're seekers. We always want to. We read a lot. We travel. We explore. We want to know we want the best that we can get. Right. We want the best that life, that the universe, that God has to offer. Nice. So we're always exploring, right? So that my relationship ends. It's not the first time that I've had a collapse, and I was just like, man, it's like not again. I don't like. I can like. Enough is enough.
Was it tough?
Yeah, enough is enough, dude. So I go to my brother, who's seen me in the state before. Oh, sorry, I touched the mic. Who's seen me in the state before, and I'm like, dude, like, this life isn't working for me. Like, I don't want this anymore. I got to do something different, And he always has an answer for me, right? So he's like, well, I got this new thing that, but you should go home and pray on it because it's a doozy. I'm like, look at my face, dude. Do I look like I need to go home and pray? Like, dude, I'm at the end of the rope.
This is dire.
This is it.
Yeah.
Now I probably should have prayed. Now, after the first ceremony, like, man, I should have prayed a little on that thing. But, and the day she left was the first night I did ayahuasca. Yeah, it was like, no, I'm going.
Playing it all.
I'm going.
Yeah.
And I got really lucky. Because it was the perfect storm in my life and I decided it was like freedom or death.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't care what was going to happen. I wasn't going back to the life I had. I wasn't going back to being yanked around by, all these hooks and all this medication and medicating, drinking and women and work and Netflix and, all these,
Right.
I never really liked drugs too much. Cause I didn't like being out of control, like even joint, I don't like the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't want to be I'm not being addicted to the things anymore. I'm not being my life will be in my own control or I will be dead. Whatever that means. And he had the right thing for me. And my first ceremony was, as my ceremonies have gone, it was fairly short.
Okay.
But God told me that I was a liar, that I was a cheat, and that I was a thief, and that I was a modern day confidence man and no better than a used car salesman.
Smacked you up with the truth.
And it ran, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was giving me chills now. It's like, and it rang true.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, after that, I was like, I'm never doing medicine again. I'm never going back.
Yeah, that's a tough mirror reflection to gaze into and to accept.
But you know it's God and you know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, damn. And then you start thinking about it. And not until later did I really realize that the idea of all the manipulation and the lying, the cheating, the stealing wasn't about what I was doing to other people. I was lying to myself. I was cheating myself. I was robbing myself of the wonder and the glory and the purity that God has to offer if you live in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I was just living a criminal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And all these addictions to all of this stuff just had me blind.
Right.
And once you can see a little bit, and again, I know a lot of people who've done it and said, I'm never doing that again.
Oh yeah.
And didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think I got lucky because I ain't never going back. Like I wasn't going back.
Right. You said it was a short ceremony?
It was like 4 hours.
4 hours, okay.
I done had some 6 and 8s. It's like, Ibogaine is like, that was like.
Oh wow,
Oh man. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was, so I think luckily I didn't do that until I had done maybe, I don't know, maybe 13 ayahuasca ceremonies over. So I was,
right.
By that time I was already, purging. I purge every time.
Mm-hmm.
Purifying. I had, gone through a couple of cycles. I had gained some additional understanding. It was probably 2 years in by that time. So by the time I did that, I was open. It was still, it's always interesting going in. It was just a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was like 12 hours and I was under the effects for like 36.
What?
Like I was still seeing, 24 hours, Ibogaine, it's long.
That's powerful.
And it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, you moving around like you're not moving around too much. It's like a very grounding and masculine medicine.
Okay.
So I had only done the mother. So,
right.
Iboga's the papa. So it was a very different thing.
Yeah.
And so in pill form, so they give you up like five doses.
Okay.
So they give you the first one. It takes like an hour or so. You set your intentions. They cleanse you and all that. And then after like an hour, they're watching you, and then you start to get in. Then they give you your next one, and then give you the others in 15-minute intervals.
Wow.
So they gave me the second one, and I was in.
Yeah.
I was in after the second one. Like I'm pretty sensitive to medicine anyway, but the second one. So they gave me the third one, and I threw up the third one.
Okay.
So I was purging already. And in 5 minutes, it had answered all the questions I needed, and for the next 12 hours, I was just on ice. It was like it's very visual. Yeah. It's super duper visual, but really heavy. I was claustrophobic and all those things. I didn't like feeling like being weighed down, but obviously the medicine clears all of that stuff out. But
what was the setting of the ceremony?
I did it in Mexico.
Okay.
And it was a private facility. There were, I think, me and two other people. And then there were a couple of other people who were holding space.
Nice. Indoors?
Yeah, definitely.
Good ambiance, good
Yeah,
safe
definitely.
space.
The music was crazy.
All right.
But they had masks on
Okay.
because they say it helps with the,
Right.
but that's the first time I saw the sacred geometry too.
Yeah.
And that was trippy.
That's powerful.
I see it all. Like
I've had that happen.
it's trippy. Like you're like, yo, what is that?
Yeah.
But it was also I purged a lot. I purged a lot over the time, but people were having a rough one with Ibogaine. I was like, it was compared to it was a cakewalk. It was just long.
Just long.
But on the same, it was 5 days. So that's the first time I did a sweat lodge too. That was trippy. So did a sweat lodge. We did a breathing. We did breath work.
Okay.
So it was a lot of integration into the thing, and then I did 5 MEO.
Wow.
And that, whoo!
Yeah.
That one right there.
That's
Probably. I was talking to a friend when I came up, when you met me out front, and she's going with Mother Jaguar in 2 weeks.
wonderful.
For the first time.
Yeah.
So she's saying
We'll meet her.
how fair. Oh, you're going to be there? I'm thinking about going too, so maybe I'll come down.
through.
Yeah. And she was like, she had a friend. I was like, yeah, you and your girl still going? She was like, nah, she kind of backed up. She said she had some issues. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure she did. And she was like, but I'm scared too. And I was like, yeah, you should be.
Of course.
And she was like, but I'm done with this life I got right now. I said, so what are we,
Yeah.
it's just the unknown. She was like, but let me chill. She's like, I'm done with this life I have right now. I'm done with feeling how I feel. So yeah, I'm scared. She was like, I was about to say, send me my deposit back, but it's all the things. And I said, well, my brother used to say this all the time when I would be on the edge. He was like, you want to go to jail? You want to go home? You want to go to jail? You want to go home?
Yeah.
You want to go to jail? You want to go home?
That's
And it's
a
like,
question.
because some people be like, well, is it like the county? You're like, is it a is it a country club? Like,
you know what I'm saying?
is it 30 days? Is it just a weekend? I might be able to.
Exactly.
But again, I was very fortunate to have the amount of devastation in my life at the time, because I want to go home. I don't want to go back to jail. I'm not going back. I ain't never going back.
Yeah.
So that actually helped me.
Good.
I did 10 ceremonies. I'm supposed to be doing that, not you.
First time that happened.
I did 10 ceremonies before the medicine released me, and mother was like, just go live your life, and she was like, you don't have to come back. I want you to get out in the world. So I started crying. I said, well, what if I need you? She was like, I'm gonna be here. Just call me. I was like, wow, like.
Yeah.
And she usually comes to me in my sleep too, like in my dream. My dream's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm talking like specific answers. Like, hey, can you talk to me about the thing that happened and I need the guidance because I need answers, and can you? Always shows up.
Yes.
Even now, like I asked her for something last night, she came. So,
yeah.
But in 10 ceremonies, every one was worse than the last one. And people was like, yo, like, it was like butterflies, and mother had me in her arms, and it was so beautiful, and oh my goodness, I was in this meadow, and I'm trapped. And I'm like, mine was like Friday the 13th, like Freddy Krueger, Friday the 13th, like everybody mixed in. And every single one was worse than the last one. It was physically painful.
Wow.
It's like, I was moving entities and energies like 3 and 4 at a time. Like, I had one ceremony and it was like, all right, I always say it's like, if this was recorded, I wouldn't show my kids. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Some of the sounds that were coming out, and some real
exorcisms.
It's literally Those people who make those movies,
Yeah.
they've been somewhere before.
Of course.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't scared. It's unsettling,
Yeah.
but the medicine was telling me all the things that were happening, and like, this is what is happening. This is where, because the energies run too.
Yep.
Like, they try to hide.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, and you could, like, I was like, yo, like, what is that?
Yeah.
So no, we getting. I had one ceremony. This was the first ceremony that Father showed up in an ayahuasca ceremony. That has never happened before. So he's running me through some things, but Mother's working, and I'm like, what you doing down there? She tried to show me. I was like, no, because I had discomfort on my left side, and I later found that that's where I hold my shame. So she tried to show me I didn't want to see it. I was like, no, I don't want to see. And it was like immediate.
Wow.
And I was like, at the end of the ceremony, I was talking to Papa, and I was like, yo, she don't really be playing. She gonna get that thing, huh? And he was like, she's not in the business of not getting that thing. She gonna get that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, because it was trippy, because I could feel the energies like trying to hide.
Right.
Like trying to hide behind my organs and trying to move, and like, oh.
Yeah.
But the medicine is like,
Yeah. They think they're slick.
They think they slick.
Yep.
So I think it's hard to describe what one might experience for their first time.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't even.
What I like to tell people when they ask me about it is, the mother is she's the intelligence of the earth.
Yes.
She's the intelligence of our cells.
Yes.
She's the intelligence of the air that we breathe, everything, the water that we partake of. She lives in everything. And when we drink her in that way, we activate that intelligence. And she is so beyond our level of intellect, like we can't even just think. She speaks every single language.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And has other languages that we have yet to discover. But I tell people all the time, like, she will always show you first and ask you.
Show you and
ready?
ask you and explain it to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you ready to deal with
what do you
this?
want to do?
We don't have to.
No, we can do something else.
We can go right over here if you want. But here's this. Take a look at it. Reflect a little bit.
I asked, I learned very early on that I could direct the medicine. I don't even know how. It was just seemed like. So I went in one night, and I said, I want to address fear, and I learned to be careful, because shows like you'll have a ceremony that's forever, because she, like, if you name 10 things, she gonna get them 10 things.
Yep.
So I said fear, I said peace, and I think I said love. Not love. Yeah, I said fear, peace, love. And what I found is they all lived in different parts of my body. So I hold fear in my lower abdomen, and my peace was in my sternum, and then my love was in my heart. So the fear was when all the exorcisms would come. It's like 3 and 4 at a time. They were taking like shapes of like, it was, it's hard to even describe.
Right.
Like, some of them had wings, some of them were slithering, some of them were like growling, and it's just, they don't want to leave.
Right.
But there was one in particular in my sternum, and it was like I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs in the ceremony. It's like somebody has a blade and they're cutting something out of me. I'm a grown man screaming at the top of his lungs in agony.
Oh my goodness.
So after about 2 hours of this, I'm exhausted. And it doesn't want to come. It doesn't want to leave. So she after 2 hours shows me. She said, she told me a picture. She showed me an image.
Yeah.
This is what we're trying to get. This is what, and it's coiled. And when they're coiled, it's brutal to get them out. But it's coiled in there.
Yeah, knotted up.
It's not, so the medicine is trying to work it out.
Exactly.
So about 3.5 hours in, it's like I feel it coming, then it comes up into my chest and then into my throat. My neck felt like it was like this big, and it's pushing me out, and it's pushing, and I'm biting down so hard I think I'm gonna break my teeth. That's how hard I'm biting, and I'm like, oh, and it's just coming out, and then it jumps out of my mouth, and then there's a 2-headed black serpent. It has 2 heads in there, like yellow eyes and sharp, and they're biting, and then it just explodes into the air.
Wow.
and then I just collapsed. Now, when she showed me, she actually named it too. I don't remember the name she said, but she was like, "This is what it is, and this is why." And later, I learned that when they're coiled, it's really hard and painful because there's like it's like a tick.
They're intertwined.
They're they don't want to.
Yep, they're living off your vitality.
They're living off, no, it's literally parasites.
It's straight up. Yep.
And
we call it astral larva.
Yes.
That has become mature as a living parasite.
It becomes. So I asked Mother in later ceremonies. I was like, "Why is it so painful?" And she said, "Because it's cellular. Like it actually becomes a part of your." She didn't say DNA though. She said it's in your. So she said we have to like separate the energies and the entities from who you are because they're not you.
It's like a psychic surgery.
It's like it's surgery, and she said it hurts. I mean sometimes, but I don't know a single other person that I've talked to who has had the physical pain in their ceremonies like me. Now that could be because I'm hard-headed. It could be because I'm holding on, but it's like it hurts. I'm like, yo, that hurts.
I can't say that I've heard that much either from others in my experience.
No, I'm like, it was, but I also was like, I'm gonna be free. And I'm not going to, I want to be sovereign. Like I had I had a couple in my heart that were like, so she showed me an image of my heart when we started, because you feel the medicine go right to the.
There's a scanning.
It's right.
You can feel that. It's going around
looking for the thing, but oh, there it is. But you can feel it.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, so the medicine it always starts in here and then it goes up but I had never felt it in my heart before. So it goes into my heart, and then she shows me an image in it's like gray, and it's all atrophy, and it's like barbed wire wrapped around it. And I'm like, yo, and she was like, yes. And so the medicine started working, dude. And I'm talking about chest pains, dude, like, yo. But at this point, I know what it is, and I'm like, you just trying to hold on so you can survive it.
That's what happens.
So a couple hours, it breaks through, and there were 4 demons that night, but they were huge. They were like dragons. And she was like, your heart is important. Stop giving it away. Like she was like, don't send heart emojis.
Wow, even at that level.
She said, don't send heart emojis. Because you just inviting, you giving it away. Stop it.
Powerful message right there. A lot of millennials need to listen to this in this day and age.
But they don't even know.
Right.
So that's our job, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And she was like, no, that's like everything you do, be intentional. You better be on what, don't get caught slipping.
Wow.
Because Christians call it the devil, but I think I always say, like, we blame the devil for stuff. The devil's like, I wasn't even in town that day. I was somewhere else. That was you.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think
that's that self-accountability piece.
Right.
Completely.
Well, it's all like, but we don't know we don't know we have the power.
Right.
We don't even know.
Yeah.
So if we don't know, and then you get into how we get taken advantage of, and you look at, I had a ceremony where I ran through. So I was asked, it was an ayahuasca ceremony, and I was asking about, like what is the fight for? Like why? And this happened in a couple different ceremonies, but I was like, what's the war? Like, what are we fighting for? Like, what's the thing? And they were like, and this was when Father came into the Aya ceremony. He was like, you're light. Like, you are light. And when you don't know, then you could get taken. You give it away and and then your ability gets down, and then you can't function, you can't move, and then that's when you get, that's when you get taken advantage of.
Right, the innocence of that aspect, in essence, is vulnerable.
Yeah, you're vulnerable, right? So the war, this is cold. So let me start from the beginning. So I'm in a ceremony, and I think my intentions, I think I asked for freedom in this one. I don't know why I did that. So this was a time where I'm kind of feeling myself, and I had some ceremonies. I had some success. I went through a couple wars. So I'm like, you know, God, we all made it the same thing. I'm God, God is me, we God, all this kind of stuff. Yo, Father didn't appreciate that at all. So he shows up, and it's the biggest warrior helmet with spikes. Like, it's some savage stuff. It's not like, you know, the pictures they be like, oh, it ain't that. That's not. And it's like, the helmet was like the size of this house, dude. And it spikes and it's right. And he was like, you're not God. Stop it. Let me show you what God is. And it's like, I was like, oh, okay. And it was like, yo. And then he was like, this is what we do. So he takes me up and shows me the war. And I'm like, he invited me to the table.
Wow.
So I said yes, and then immediately retracted. Like, no, I don't want any parts of it. Like, immediately.
Nope, I ain't got it.
No, I don't know. But he was like, but you are in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight is not what you think it is, and it's not why you think it is, and it's not what. So he takes me up and he shows me the war, and it's terrifying.
Right.
And he said, the war is for your soul. It's not for you to get a Porsche. It's not for your Benz. It's not for your house. It's not for the money. It's not for the job. But you get tricked into thinking that the war is for that. All along, you're getting your soul power stolen.
Wow.
You're shooting the soul power out and all these, like it's your life force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're doing all of these things, and you're giving away the true thing. So you need to understand. I said, so what are, I said, well, so why are you, what is the job? Like, what am I signing up for?
Yeah.
Like, why are you fighting? Like, why are you here? And he said, to stop mankind from devouring themselves. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So he was like, ooh, give me chills. So you in the war whether you want it or not. And I just decided I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
So the superficial war falls by the wayside.
Completely. And
I was like, well, did the slave masters know that? Because like, so you hear all these terms like sell your soul, or like,
meeting at the crossroads.
All those things are what people who are initiated understand. Mm-hmm. But most of us aren't initiated.
Yeah, we don't know.
So it just blows, but we think it's stories.
Exactly.
But no, that's a real thing.
Wives' tales.
We think,
folklore.
but that's how they get to be that's what folklore means. That's how it gets to be folklore.
Exactly.
Because
it happened.
It happened.
It's real. There's a seed of truth.
Because right. So it was like when you can dehumanize, and when you could brutalize, and when you like the specific term was break your spirit. Mm-hmm. And that means what it sounds like it means. We just don't take it as that.
Yeah.
Because you can't get your spirit broken on this plane. Mm-hmm. They're warming you up so you can get set up for the real fight.
Right.
So you can lose the real war.
Right.
And I'm like, well, did they know? And he was like, they sort of kind of infer. Like, they kind of know, but those who do know start doing stuff like the Willie Lynch letter.
Yep.
You get a couple who's sophisticated, and they're like, no, this is how you do it.
Yep.
Because we're not fighting our freedom here.
Exactly.
They're breaking our spirit in the spirit realm, which is where we get all of our power.
And that's why they play the long game. Like
they play
in Willie Lynch letters. They talk about 300 years
300,
from now.
300,
you know?
How many 300 years from now?
Yeah.
We'd be talking about next week.
Exactly. We'll even plan that long. 3 months from now.
We don't know the game.
Exactly.
So I think for me, overwhelmingly, and I done had some trippy ceremonies, dude. I done had some trippy ceremonies because I talk to God like we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yo, what happened with the thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let me tell you about the thing. I'm like, well, but what? Oh yeah, don't fall for the. So it's like,
yeah.
And obviously, mother and father, they are very different. Like it's like the messages are different.
Yeah.
But it's love. It is, if we can, it's true
love.
Essence of what love is.
The human aspect, or
not the
delusional
attachment. With just the matrix. Like it's like you can't do this. This is practice.
Yeah.
You know, but what they say, if you get killed in the matrix, you die for real.
Right.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think with plant medicine and with our community, and I might be going into another subject for you, you know, that you want to.
No, come on, come with it.
So I think, unfortunately, we've been brainwashed and made to believe something about ourselves that's not true, but we're taking it as true. And anytime you build something on something that's not true, it just falls apart, which is why our lives always fall apart, because we don't know the truth. So I think in the Black community, especially in America, and you know, Jesus was a shaman. What else would he have been? Like, how you can't, like, what? But you're not allowed to say that out loud.
The true sense of the word. Yeah, they got it all backwards and flipped. But no, he was a real witch doctor.
Right.
A real shaman.
Yeah, it's like what?
Medicine man.
Medicine man.
Healer.
How could you do that stuff if you weren't that?
Exactly. And studied the mysteries and been initiated.
And travel.
You know?
Traveled the world.
Yeah.
Came back and was like, hey.
Yeah. These are some gems I picked up. This is how you apply it.
And guess what? Y'all can do that too.
Exactly.
But no, but you're not allowed to say that. So I think, and I founded a church here in LA a few years back, and watching the Black community and watching leadership, and it's a very powerful position in the Black community. Mm-hmm. But the way people in the congregation interact in Black churches is way different than they interact in white churches.
Completely, yeah.
They, like in white churches, they'd be like, hey, you messing the money up, you messing, hey. Because we doing our thing, right?
Exactly. It's a business structure.
It's a business structure, which is, I don't have a problem with that either. But I think with Black people in America and the church, it makes the idea of plant medicine a harder sell. And in my opinion, because we have been so miseducated that we can't even accept the testimony of people who say, hey, this is what it was. I actually met God, and sacrilege. What do you mean? Like,
yeah.
There's 6,000 pages of stuff that people was meeting. Like everybody meets God. That's the whole point.
All about. That was that
the
transformed
entire point
lives.
is right.
Yeah.
But I think we don't. We have trouble with that. Mm-hmm. And I love Jesus, and like I said, I think church is a beautiful, wonderful thing. But there are a lot of beautiful and wonderful things in the world. Yeah. And the more you travel and the cultures, and like, it's a lot of different things. So I think my perspective is a little different in that I don't think God is offended when you're searching for God. Right. However you search.
Exactly.
You know, and for me, I tell you, man, you know, all the plant medicines I've done have all, and they're all very different, but gotten down to the same thing. You want to be at the feet of God so you can get your instruction.
Exactly. And it's like in Rumi's quote, he says, what you're searching for is actually searching for you.
Wow. Well, yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a perfect marriage.
Yeah. No, what I think it's in the Quran where they say, you take one step towards Allah, he takes two steps towards you.
Exactly. I love
but that's just how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
But now if you take it 2 steps back,
mm-hmm.
your journey could be longer, it could be more painful.
Right.
And I think and I'm not interested in debating any of this stuff with anybody. I'm not interested in, I'll share, I'll share what my experiences have been. I'll share sort of what my life was like, 85% of the time being angry, and really seeing, once you get a hold of your anger, how much you destroy. Like, you destroy a lot when you're mad 85% of the time, and then it's like, okay, well, what's the next frontier? And for me, the next frontier was lust. And then the next frontier was fear. And these are like years of, they take years to get around.
Right.
And then my final frontier, which I'm living in now, is love. And that's love is the ultimate elixir.
True.
Like, it is truly, I believe that it is truly the answer for everything.
Love is God, right?
Love is right.
Love is Christ.
Love is you.
Exactly.
And me and all of us.
We are here because of love.
Right.
It's a substratum of all existence.
Yeah. So I think we get, in this generation, I have a son who's 12 and a daughter who's 24. And I tell them all the time, it's like, man, don't believe the stuff. Don't just, the stuff that's true will ring inside of you.
Yeah. It has to be an inner direct experience,
Yes.
a gnosis.
Yeah.
That's why I love that term, and I hear that that's what you're speaking of, is that you're having these personal experiences. Once you have gnosis, there's no need to try to go out and argue with anybody.
No.
Not trying to preach nothing to nobody,
Right.
because it's, if a person has their own direct experience of something, then there's a relationship. It can be no words at all. You just nod, be like, "Yep,
Yep. You
that.
get
I know
it.
that. Yep."
There's a scene in Dark Knight where Batman is fighting Bane, and they're in the sewer, and he's using all these theatrics and the lights going off and all that, and Bane is just like, dude, like, he's like, that would work. That might work on an uninitiated.
See, that gives me chills.
No, me too. But we both initiated. So what you doing?
Exactly. Like, it ain't gonna work on me. Come
It
on.
doesn't. Like, come on. What you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And if you look, that's giving me chills. If you look at that, he was there to make Batman better.
Exactly. That's what the nemesis is all about.
That's what the entire point is.
Yeah.
Because Batman was slipping, like we all be slipping.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah. Tighten up.
Tighten it up. Tighten it up. No, so I think overall, my goal and what I've committed my life to, personally and professionally, is to provide safe environments for people to come and heal.
Beautiful. Tell us about
to learn.
I want to learn more about your wellness resort, international retreats that you have going on.
So I was inspired. So construction has always been, I have significant real estate development background. Construction has always been a wonderful, wonderful thing. In my younger days, I had some really, really wonderful mentors in this space. And the thing that got me about construction was that you can literally sketch something on a napkin, and in a week your architect will have a thing.
That's dope, yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness. And
like what manifestation,
it's literal.
From the mind, manas, manifestation, into the physical, boom.
Wow, and then you can build it, and then you can see how people respond to you. And like, there was a stretch, I really like single family homes. Like, I like making homes for families. And I swear, like, the people would be in my house for 6 months and then they'd be pregnant. So the family come, I was like, so I used to start having disclaimers. Like, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna tell you now, before you buy this house, if you don't want her to be pregnant, don't buy it. Because it was like 4 or 5 in a row. And I realized what made with love actually meant. Like, I couldn't put my finger on it, but that's what it was.
It's like a cliche term.
Yeah, it's a cliche, but it really, chefs know it very well.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Chefs know it very well when the food is made with love.
True.
But everything we can create is with love.
Right.
Or not,
Exactly.
but I just, so Wellness Resorts International is a company I created to explore the same inspiration I had when I started my church years ago. I just want to do it in a luxury. I want to use different healing methodologies. I want to do it in beautiful places. around the world, and I'm actually right in the finishing stages of an overall life plan where I've just decided I'm going to do a hard reset on my entire life, and it's solely based on my experience with the medicine.
Beautiful.
Like nothing's off the table.
By any chance, as a side note, do you know John Amos's daughter? She's actually doing the same thing, and she's offering ayahuasca retreats as well.
Really? In the
Her
U.S.?
name slips my mind. I think it's in South America, maybe here in the U.S. as well.
I mean, check her out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you her link. We just connected recently.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the same thing that you're doing.
And
Nice,
it's necessary.
nice yes.
And you know, it's not one size fits all. But I think, you know, I've had a couple of debates with people whether everybody should partake. But I'm like, every single person on the planet should.
That's what I received in my first cup. Like, yo, I need to take this to the president. I need to take this to the police officers, the mayor, everybody, my family, my friends. Everybody needs to be partaking of this because it is so transformative.
It's
so
God
powerful,
medicine.
empowering. It's God medicine, and that's what we need. We need to first empower our gifts, but first with the three factors: self-reflection, self-accountability, self-transformation. She offers all of that to us. She gives us that opportunity. Going back to ayahuasca. I recall when we met and we were having the conversation about, we were both involved in the Black Diaspora event that took place last weekend. 24-hour event where all of the melanated BIPOC people who were in the space got a chance to go onto Zoom and share their stories. And that was so nice. I saw you speaking about, in particular, this one experience of having contractions. And being taught about the Divine Mother and the Divine Feminine in particular. Tell us about that, because that's very intriguing and inspiring to hear.
That was a rough night there. That was a rough night for me right there. So the B word was my favorite word. Like one day, oh man, 311, whatever. So this particular night, I can't remember. I don't know what it was, but I'm in ceremony. The place I'm in ceremony, upstairs in the room, and I think I wanted to go downstairs to get some air. And I'm going downstairs, and I'm right outside the kitchen, and the medicine just pushes me to my knees, and I collapse on the ground. And I'm talking like did somebody just shoot me? Like I'm looking around, like what just happened? And it's just like. It is agonizing. Now, because my ceremonies have been agonizing before, I'm like, I'm not shocked initially, but it didn't stop. So I started like, hey, so the pain would come and like twist and turn, and I couldn't move. And then I start feeling pressure. Like, I'm like, what is going on? And then it would time, and then it would stop. And then I would try to get up, and then it would come again. I was like, oh God, like what is this? And then I would feel pressure, like something trying to cut. It felt like a bowling ball. What? And I'm like, what is going on? And then after like the third or fourth, I'm like, it's like I couldn't move. But because my son was born naturally, I watched the whole process. My son was born at home, so I'm going through the contraction, so it starts to dawn on me that the timing is like the same, and the pressure is like the same as she described. I'm like, am I having contractions? Literally. I mean, I don't know. It had to be 2 hours, dude. Wow. It had to be 2 hours, dude. And it started to dawn on me as I'm going through it, trying to understand like why, because you just wanted to stop. I was like, it was a pain that was so deep, and it's just it is paralyzing. So then I start getting, I'm like, oh well, these are contractions, so why would I need to be having contractions? Oh wow, like well, the being like, oh, I don't respect. Well, wait a minute, the Divine Feminine, got it. So I had no knowledge of or respect for the feminine and the divinity of the feminine. So this was Mother's unique way of sharing a little bit with me so that I could have an appreciation
Yes.
for what was really 50, like we're all divine masculine, divine feminine. So at the best 100% masculine divinity, I'm still only 50% of my complete,
Right.
like I'm only half of what I am.
Mm-hmm.
So from that night, don't use the B word anymore. I try not to even say son of a,
Yeah, right.
you know,
That's
and
amazing.
it was mother something else, dude. Like she's just, I get emotional because it's that which I've always wanted in my life, and that which I've always searched for and seeked in my relationships.
Mm.
It's the love, it's God love,
Right.
but it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I realized I didn't respect myself, you know, and
The feminine is the embodiment of that.
It's
you know,
right.
The living essence of that embodied. And when we say divine feminine, or even use the word divine, we always think of the prettiest aspects of that. But what you experience is like, this is why the feminine is divine.
this makes it divine.
She has to bear this pain to bring forth human life. And if you don't know that, here's the experience for you to feel that.
I was like, come on now, like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's been like a mother theme this entire time we've been here, right?
Yeah.
It's been like everybody we've spoken to, there's been
Really?
it's been going back to the mother, not just the symbolic, you know, spiritual aspect of the mother, but the real deal, the feminine embodied, our mothers,
Yeah.
and what that means. And it's just amazing.
Well, my mother's my best friend, which was also interesting to me, how I could have such a lack of understanding of like universal fundamental law. Like, how could I miss that?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine me trying to have a relationship with a woman and not understand that.
Yeah,
Like, it's impossible. It's ridiculous.
that is ridiculous. But I think this is where we can tie in the colonial piece
Mm-hmm.
of that on a mental level, how that programming has come in.
Definitely.
Because I don't think it's been something that we had to deal with as indigenous people in the past.
Yeah. That,
Pre-colonial era times. And so this whole Victorian era
Mm-hmm.
that came through and brought us into this masculine, patriarchal, you know, dominant type of a narrative and storyline has affected all of us.
Yeah.
We've all been, you know, and especially within our culture.
And
we
in
still see it.
America,
It's
the
just
last
like,
50 years has been on steroids.
Exactly, completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so speaking of that, you had some beautiful points to make earlier. We got a little B-roll of it. But let's unpack a little bit of that more about the colonial piece, especially when it comes to the entheogenic space. Like, how do you see it in this time when it comes to the policies that are being made, the legalities that are being rolled out, the clinical colonizers that are now being involved in, that may go towards the pharmaceutical end of things, you know, and also with the colonial capitalists that are in the space trying to make money off of plant spirit medicines.
Yeah. So my perspective might be slightly controversial, but not unreasonable, at least I think. So for Black people in America, has it ever been different? Like, this is no different. Like, we all were like, we always got to fight for the thing. Jazz and inventions, and since the moment we stepped foot here, they've been taking
the Elvis effect.
Right. And, you know, again, listen, Elvis was good. I prefer Michael Jackson. You know, it's like you know, but at the end of the day, I believe the conversation, you know, I think I told you I was watching this documentary, and people were up in arms. And I didn't understand why everybody was up in arms. These people from like Oakland and Detroit and Baltimore and Southside Chicago and Harlem, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, but why are we acting like this is new? You know, it's like the same thing. I'm from Philly, so we already know what this is.
I get that.
Now, I've been called nigga on the street. That, it hurt.
Yeah.
I was working like, nigga, I was like, ouch. Like, you know, so I think, and if I take 2 seconds, I could probably. So I think that all of these things are obviously true and obviously happening. But I think in my heart of hearts, I don't know how productive it is to, I'm not sure how productive the outrage about it is.
Okay.
Like, let's just do what we always do. We gotta get together, make a plan, and then build the thing. And and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We got to take it. Like ask them for you're trying to get white shaman to figure out how to manage the black experience.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But I think it's the same with trying to have white police the black community. It's
true.
Who thinks that's going to work?
Exactly. It cannot work.
It can't work.
We know the end results.
We know we've been watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the role I want to play in this conversation, and it's also, I think I spent so much of my life enraged that I don't want to be enraged no more.
Yeah.
That's a good I'm a savage, but I don't want to be enraged.
Right.
I'd rather, like when the time comes, they say, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Right.
And no small part due to the beautiful, kind love that I received from God, do I kind of see this way. Mm-hmm. When the time comes to destroy, I'm in.
Right.
But every time I spent a life there. I don't want to.
I get that.
So somebody should do that if it's somebody's thing. But on my journey, it's like they say you should never give a sword to a man who can't dance.
Right.
I could dance though, so I'm like, I'm not. I want to be the person who says, hey, yes, that's all true, but how can we make it? How can we effectively plan? How can we effectively strategize? What do we need to do? How do we need to do it? What do y'all need me to do?
I love that perspective and that approach. Because a lot of people that get involved in activism, they get inspired. In fact, they are disillusioned. Instead of becoming apathetic about it, they want to do something. They want to make some change happen. But a lot of it has to do with just joining particular groups that have the same thoughts and beliefs as you do. So you feel at home in the comfort of others, and you're just like, not really mapped out with any true plan. You're just out there with pickets and whatnot.
Which is great.
It's great.
The activism is great, but Malcolm X is one of my favorite people. That, some of the stuff Malcolm says, I just be laughing because it's like how we feel,
right?
But we don't really feel comfortable saying it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what? Yeah. But even he learns okay, in the absence of love, in the absence of grace and mercy and compassion, you become the thing that which you hate.
Exactly. That is such a beautiful,
you become
poignant
the oppressed. You become the thing.
We see that happening today.
You're not allowed to talk about that. But I'm like, this is ridiculous.
You see it
what are y'all doing?
In real time. Yep.
You're complaining and doing the same thing.
Doesn't make no sense, but it's so weird because that's what happens. You become exactly that, like Malcolm said.
Yep. And I think for me, it's gonna be chill. I think for me, I've spent so long not feeling good about who I was and not understanding what my mission was and not and being ashamed of the power in me. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm listen. When it comes time to fight, you're gonna have to fight whether you want to or not. And I just think because I've spent most of my life in that mode, it's exhausting, first of all. True. And you destroy just as much as you build. In my experience, you destroy. Like I destroyed as much as I built, and now I just want to build a little more than I'm destroying.
Yeah. And we get to understand there's a thing called controlled opposition.
Yeah. No, but somebody should be out there. Like I think there's room for all of us.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is also a piece of decolonization.
Right.
That we need to understand. It's not always being out there in the front line or trying to really disrupt in a major, loud way.
Right.
There's silent revolutionary ways too. And have you heard of NAP Ministry? Mm-mm. Go online, Instagram. There's a page called the NAP Ministry.
NAP.
NAP.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because whoever runs it, it's a beautiful woman. Her consciousness and her intelligence is so lovely because she's saying that decolonization is also taking naps, resting, We haven't had no chance to rest.
We don't, because when you rush, you fall behind, and we can't afford to fall behind.
Exactly. But she's saying that in this time, you better take care of yourself and get your rest
Yes.
on, and own that,
Mm-hmm.
and take it like it's beyond a privilege, it's a right.
Yes.
And this is a part of decolonization too. So I can hear that same resonance in what you're telling me on how you're showing up in that.
So the only thing I'll say, and I'll push back a little bit, is I don't think I would quite describe my thoughts and feelings and approach as not fighting.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's like I think I'm fighting in a different way, and I'm fighting in a way that I think fits where I want to be and how I want to be. But not fighting is not a chill. Like there's no option. We're going to fight,
Of course.
and we have to risk everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning that it takes everything.
True.
There was a I just jump. So I think about my ceremonies, and I've had some wonderful downloads, and obviously after the ceremony, once the medicine's in you, it's always in you.
Always. Let's
but-
continue to impact it.
Yeah. So I think in regard to the fight, right? So I love sports. So basketball, football. What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is
Don't say cricket, because I don't know anything about cricket. This boy will be like, yeah. My favorite. What's the thing they do in the Olympics with the curling? He's like,
Curling.
my favorite
sport is curling.
I'm like, oh,
I like to play pickleball. I'm not a sports player, but I like to watch like soccer, football, both American version and.
Yeah. So there are different positions on the field for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in our community, we judge each other based on the perceived positions that we play.
Right. That's a good point.
But imagine Shaq is not a point guard.
Right.
So if you're going to judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree, you're going to be disappointed.
Exactly.
So I know, because I was like this for my entire life. And only now am I, God just be tired of my shit sometimes. Like, dude, like, come on. But I'm seeing the world in a slightly different way now. So if there are different roles, which we think there are, and there's different things that need to be accomplished, which we know there are, then don't demand that your point guard get 15 rebounds. Don't demand that your quarterback play defense.
Right.
Don't demand that. Don't demand that your 350-pound center runs the ball.
That would cause dysfunctionality.
First of all, it wouldn't be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be fun to watch, and it wouldn't be fun for the experience. It wouldn't be It wouldn't be fun for the team. It wouldn't be fun for the game.
Right.
But it also wouldn't be productive. I remember the refrigerator. I don't know how old you are, but you remember Chicago '85 Bears, Refrigerator Perry running
Of course, yeah.
That was entertaining to watch, but not every down.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. It was entertaining, but it did get old.
It's like it's beautiful. So I think in this, as we're pursuing liberation, and even in the plant medicine space, but as a people, I want to have a greater understanding of what everybody's roles are. There's a wonderful book called Good to Great, and it talks about how some companies that were good didn't transcend and didn't become great, but how good companies became great and what those models look like. Mm-hmm. And they use this analogy of people riding on a bus, and they say, well, you have a bus and the bus is going to a certain place, right? And you're the driver of the bus. So as the driver of the bus who's determining where the bus is going to go, it's your job to make sure everybody is seated properly. Mm-hmm. Because somebody sitting in the wrong seat could look like somebody who shouldn't be on the bus. So there are people who you got to get off your bus,
right?
But not everybody.
Right.
And if you're not careful, you're throwing people off of buses who could be valuable to your journey because you've misunderstood what their value is on the bus. And you had them sitting in one seat when they're supposed to be in a different seat. So what I want to try to be in my life, but and this specifically as we're talking about taking command of our destinies as purveyors of not just this medicine, but as greater liberators of our communities via these other healing methodologies, because that's a whole nother, we have our work cut out for us. Right. I also think being aware, and again, that's what the medicine I think is for too, to help us manage ourselves with more grace, right, and to manage the people around us with more grace, and to educate ourselves more and to be open about what's going on and how it's working, and not identifying things as right or wrong or good or bad, but productive or not productive. Right. Like, does this help the goal? Beautiful. Yes? Mm-hmm. Great. No? Well, we don't care what it is if it don't help. Right.
It needs to be refined. Go back to the drawing board.
Whatever. Yeah. Or step on the gas. We're good. Let's go. Yeah. There's a book called I read a lot. There's a book called The Power Path, and it's a wonderful book. And they the basic idea is they interviewed all these shamans. They went all around the world and tried to understand like what true power was, but they wanted to put it in a business context. Mm-hmm. So this book talked about overstepping the limits of your power, which could be devastating. So if you aim too high or you reach too far, that's beyond your power. So that could be devastating. But they also said reaching below your power can be devastating. Right. And that was like, ooh, well, wait a minute. So if I could be doing 10, I'm only doing 8, that could kill me too? Yes.
That's a powerful message.
So I was like, whoa. So it's just a lot of
having that awareness.
Having that awareness, and but that ego is cold. You know, I tell people that there's part of the assisting people navigating. I've created some formal things, but I said, listen, you got to identify the top 5 things in your life that make you happy. Like, it's not an aspirational list. Hey, when I'm in nature, I just feel connected. Or hey, when I'm in water, I just feel. Or hey, when I'm helping. Or hey, when I'm doing this, it just makes me feel alive. You know, some people, when I'm around animals, it's just like, oh my God. I did it with one woman. She was like a plant. She was raised with her grandmother, and she was like, I could be in a greenhouse 12 hours a day. Yeah. And she was like, but she worked at an insurance company in a basement doing accounting with fluorescent lights. I said, well, do you even have a plant on your desk? She was like, no. I said, well, what you talking about? You're not happy. But she didn't connect it. Top 5 things that make you happy, and then you have to find out what your cardinal sin is. So you have to find out the things that are going to make you alive, and then the thing that can sink your ship. Wow. I'm like, whoa. And mine was lust. I'm like, ooh. And we do all of them, right? So we do all of them. But there's one that's particular. There's a sweet spot you got.
Yeah, we call that the psychological chief feature.
Yeah, like what is that for you? Yeah. And some people, I was working with somebody who identified theirs as gluttony. I was like, ouch. Yeah. But pride is and wrath. Oh my God, yeah. And
greed.
Greed, because it gets slick. And the other thing I've learned through my medicine journey
you
is
can hide.
You got it
in philanthropy. Greed is right up in there.
I got a buddy of mine I went to college with, who's a preacher. He's my man too. So I think he's like 3rd generation. So he just took over his church, and we're talking, and he's like a real cool dude, like always fly. But really in the spirit, into helping people navigate. Beautiful. So I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, because, the word says this, and, we got to do this, and we got to do that. I'm like, yeah, but, you got to be careful because, the word can be, the word can be your addiction too, right? He's like, what you mean? I said, well, you start leaning on that thing in the wrong way, and you start, and your pride kicks in, and your ego kicks in, that could become your drug of choice.
That's a powerful insight right there.
He was like, what? He just got quiet.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking now, like, oh, shoot. I'm like, yeah. Anything could become that.
People hide in what looks like virtue.
What looks like virtue. And it's self-righteousness and righteousness. They like this.
Yeah.
And the ego, I tell you, the ego is a nasty, ugh.
You said it. The ego is cold.
Oh, the ego. Oh, man. And we'll appreciate, we'll say the devil too. But the problem is, it knows you better than you know yourself.
Boom. Yeah.
So if you're not aware, I'm getting chills. If you're not aware, and I walk through life so unaware and so like, just, you can't be loud and wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just walk through life loud and wrong and just, and so I tell people now, I said, man, you don't have to slam on the brakes, but you got to take your foot off the gas a little bit. Like, ease up on them things a little bit, because the moment you make a statement, you're in the danger zone. I don't care what your statement is. God is great. Hold on. God doesn't exist. Hold on. I don't care what your definitive statement is. If you're making a definitive statement, you better look at it twice.
Right.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah, look at all the angles of it.
Look at, hey, man, listen.
Yeah.
Because that ego is like, that's a nasty, filthy, diabolical.
It's got inverted intellect.
Yes.
And especially the ego of lust.
Well, you don't have to,
the ego of lust.
You don't have to tell me. There's a book called Spiritual Warrior 2 by Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Maybe the greatest book I've ever read. Spiritual Warrior 2, Turning Lust into Love.
Yeah.
I was highlighting on every single page.
See?
And he just kept hitting me, bam, kept hitting me, bam, kept me, bam. Because I thought pretty hair and a fat ass was it. Like, no, that's not, I mean, yes, but that's not, lust is a desire that, it's like insatiable.
Yeah.
And it's cold because it's for stuff that's not yours.
Exactly.
It's for things that are beyond what you should be wanting.
Yeah. It's what creates all the manipulative, dysfunctional behavioral patterns that create the toxicity that's all around.
All around. So I think if there were like, I probably have 3 or 4 of them, but if there are like 2 or 3 main things that if somebody were looking like, I want to do plant medicine, like how has it changed your life?
Yeah.
The most significant is no lying, no cheating, no stealing, no manipulation.
Yeah.
They said, well, why? Well, even on the Black Diaspora call we did, somebody got in the comments and said, I told him I was, during the process, you got to manage your stuff, so I was abstaining. But what's wrong with sex? Sex is beautiful, it's this, it's that, it's that. I was like, yeah, who are you talking to?
Of course.
I said, but you got to be careful because it could turn on you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we're using it in the wrong way.
Most of the time.
It's not like every now and then, no, like we going after that thing for a reason.
Especially in this day and age.
So I think, and then I was talking to somebody about like people having orgies on that planet. I'm like, ew, like, ooh, like who, what? But they out here, they burning it down.
Plant medicine?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I've never.
I'm like, ill.
Yeah, come on.
Ill. Can you imagine trying to have an orgy on Aya?
Come on now.
Man, y'all must be. You don't even listen. I feel sorry for the person even going there with that intention. Mother be like, oh, y'all think, got it. Come on in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I done been to the dance. I don't want to know what happened, but she done set me up a couple times. I don't have nothing. I'm like, I ain't got
interesting information right there. Ooh.
Man.
Wow.
But psilocybin, MDMA, all these things, like, and these people will try anything. But it's also.
I mean, be honest. Ayahuasca is a powerful aphrodisiac. Very powerful.
I can't imagine. You saying that, I can't even think about like, and maybe it's just because of my experience, I can't.
Psilocybin too, it has that ability to, it activates that instinctive energy within us, a creative force.
I don't know what batch y'all be using because I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I can't fathom it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine being active in the moment.
Yeah, like
but there's definitely some energy that I feel. I'm like, that's that primal force right there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But like, let me try to take something down. Ill.
Can you even see it?
Yeah, I mean, stuff like, what? Is it real?
Right. Yeah.
But I think that for the Black community, and again, these are the definitive statements. So I'm going to take a definitive statement as I preface. We watch it for the definitive statements, right? But for me, plant medicine has been the greatest single thing I've ever used in my entire life, and I've done a lot of stuff, and a lot of counseling, and a lot of studies.
They say that one ceremony of ayahuasca can be equivalent to about 100 sessions with a therapist.
1,000%. So I said this. So one weekend. So I don't do it this much anymore. But my first couple ceremonies were like 3 and over a weekend. I go on Friday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come out Monday morning. So I've been able now. I can do single ceremonies, what I couldn't before, because I would be not stuck, but I've done enough work that I can do a single ceremony now. One weekend equivalent to 6 years of any other kind of work.
Right.
I don't care what the other work is, 6 years in three nights.
Yeah, it's true. It has that potency, that power.
And I'm like, well, maybe 4 years. I don't know for the different, but 3 years. But there's nothing that even comes close. But God wants everything.
And how does it show up in your interpersonal life and your relationships? Are they recognizing these changes?
Yeah. So at the point at which you stop being a criminal, everybody knows the difference. I'm not interested. Yeah. I'm not interested. Well, sometimes a little white lie. Nope. What they say, it's a gateway drug. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I have lived such a miserable existence. Now, maybe lying and cheating and stealing helps some people, just not me. Mm-hmm. Just not me. So I'm not, no manipulation, and I can feel it too. Like right now, I'm at a point where I have to disconnect. There's been a lot going on in my life the last several months, and I'm feeling, I'm tired, and I'm worn down, and I can feel it. So I feel my ego creeping up now. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I feel my judgment creeping up now. So I'm like, all right, it's time to. So I'm just on alert. So even with this, I was considering not doing it. Because I'm like, you don't ever want to put yourself in a position where you're in a space. Like if this was going to be 4 or 5 hours, I would say I wouldn't. Oh, yeah. So, but because it's short and it's I ate, I got some rest, I did all the things, but I'm just aware of the monster.
Right. Yeah.
I'm aware.
That's all it takes.
And I'm not afraid of it. I'm not. Yeah. So in my interpersonal life, so once you stop the criminal behavior, everybody notices. So you're like, okay, well, that's one thing. But I think also I was able to address my fear in a major way. Mm-hmm. So my biggest fear of my entire life, for as long as I can remember, was skydiving. And then my second biggest fear was the water. Like I was always afraid of the water. So I think maybe 7 ceremonies in, I went diving at the Great Barrier Reef, and that was amazing. Wow. Amazing. And then
Actual scuba diving?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We probably down 40 feet, 50 feet. It was like, whoa.
That's still amazing.
So I had been in the water in Hawaii, and I looked, so not just afraid of the water, but afraid of heights. So you get into that clear water and you can see to the bottom. And I was like, yo, y'all gotta get me out of here. They was like, we gotta help these kids. I was like, man, damn them kids. Get me back to the boat. I said, damn the kids. And the dude looked at me like he thought I was playing. No, them kids gonna be fine. Get me out of this water.
Oh my goodness.
So I did that, and then in Dubai I went skydiving.
You went skydiving?
Yeah,
Oh my
I cried after.
How was that?
The greatest. It was because
I haven't
you realize that fear is not real.
Right.
But because it's so powerful, it sounds ridiculous to say it.
Tell me how it was like flying up and like right before the jump. How did that feel?
So the night before, it's horrible.
I mean, I can relate drinking ayahuasca to skydiving.
Yeah, no,
People should know.
Well, hey.
It feels the same way when you get that cup.
Yeah, you go, oh.
You're on that precipice.
You be like, oh man, like.
Yeah.
But even that has gotten better for me.
Nice.
You know, because it's like, I wonder if it gets to a point where you don't feel that.
I know, you're just like,
let me go hit this thing. And I'm like, because even now I'm like,
every time.
You just gotta get geared up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the night before is that you can't sleep.
I bet.
Doing the prep leading up, it's like, and you got other people around you who were struggling in the same way. Because I think when I went, there were 12 of us, and I think 10 were first timers. So you see all the people going through. You see some of the people like, yo, get me up because I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna go. My nephews went and they went back to back. Wow. They didn't go with me, but they jumped once and then landed and then got geared up and went and jumped the second time.
Wow.
They're like, yo.
That's a rush.
That not me though, but so watching everybody and then so getting prepped is like really nervy, like then you're seeing other people decide whether they're gonna go or not. Luckily everybody went. So by the time I got my gear on and in the plane, I was resolved. I was like, over my dead body will I land on this ground without being in this parachute.
Yeah.
So it was like, and then so there were 6 tandems, 1, 2, 3, 4 went, I was 5th, and then my brother went last.
Okay.
So the first step they say the first step is a doozy. The first step is a doozy, but it lasts for a millisecond. Like it's almost imperceptible.
Right. You're just like, boom, you're in the sky.
And then you're like, yo, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
Wow.
I have it on video. I'll show you.
I can't wait.
But
let's go again sometime. Let me know when.
My daughter wants to go for her birthday in August. I was like, she was like, Dad, I want to go, but you gotta come with me. I'm like, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it's taking the steps to liberate the you that you know needs to be liberated.
Right.
Like I knew, like I can't let an idea jump. Like people jump out of planes all the time.
Right. It's been going on for a long time.
It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So I jumped, man, and it was, so you fall for like 90 seconds and then pull the parachute and then you float for like 5 minutes. That was a little weird.
Really?
Yeah, because now you're just up there. So the fear of heights is still in you.
Yeah, right.
So now you're like, the dude was like, I'm gonna loosen this thing a little bit. Don't drop me, dude. But it was
in Dubai too.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you're above the Burj Al Arab, like you're looking down, like I think we jumped at like 14,000.
That's high.
And I think they usually 12 or 13.
Okay.
But we jumped at 14. And it was like, so the plane going up, it was trippy because they had to open the door to depressurize.
I see. Yeah,
so that was trippy.
I bet. You're like, what?
Yo. You just open the door? Like you're not supposed to open the door on an airplane.
Right.
And you're sure not supposed to inch you up to the edge. But
none of this is natural.
None of this is natural.
Flying, having a plane in the air.
Dude, the jumping, it was, it's just.
That's beautiful.
I had to go take a moment when I landed. I had to go sit down and cry, dude. I was like, wow.
That's transformative. I love what you're talking about and where you're going with it all, and just how it's about the self-liberating process.
But everything is that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everything is that.
Ties right back to that.
So if you can embrace, which I think is going to be part of my ministry, if you will, around helping people accept this medicine for what it actually is, which is, it helps you find God.
Yes.
Whatever you call him or her.
Yeah.
So, but that fear piece destroys more lives than we could ever imagine. And we don't even know it. We don't know we don't know that.
Yeah.
We think it's, well, this is that, so I'm gonna do this. No, you scared.
And the darkest of ignorance around that.
Yep. No, you're gonna do this. No, you scared. So I just don't. I spent a lot of I got bullied like when I was younger, man, and it was like I'm not being scared of anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, obviously, like the medicine and death, like it gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
Especially with ayahuasca, the whole goal is to teach you how to die. Like I didn't know that.
It means the vine of the dead.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca. That's the literal translation of that word.
Teaching you how to give it up. So
Exactly.
I'm like,
that's what I like the quote by Ram Dass. He says, "We're all here to walk each other home."
oh, I love that.
You know, that's what we're doing for each other. So I want to thank you for your time,
absolutely.
being a part of this journey,
Yep.
helping me walk home. And it's been amazing having you here. It's just, your story is going to be inspirational to many. This is just going to ripple out. And I love that, we're doing this and we're sharing this vision together to help us share this message of self-liberation and healing and profound change that needs to take place amongst our people.
Yes.
So thank you for doing your work.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for showing up the way you do. Is there anything you want to share in closing? Any reflections you want to offer? Do you want people to know your handles on the gram and where they can find you and whatnot?
Yeah. So first, thank you for having me, and I just want to let you know that your work is important and that it's necessary and that we need it.
Indeed.
And we need you. Because the way I look at the world and this generation and the future, man, it feels like it might get worse before it gets better.
I know.
And it's like it's kind of scary, dude. Like worse than this.
That's where we're at.
You know, it's like, ouch. So we need people like you doing the things that you're doing. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm at the H-Man, the #1 on Instagram. And I would love to come back and talk more.
Let's do
it. This is just wonderful, and I could talk about this stuff all day. It's just it's so rare that we get to talk about beauty in a real way.
Yeah.
And not superficial. Like it's beautiful.
It is.
And the world, with all the things that are going on, is still beautiful.
Indeed.
And we can still live in love and live in peace and be fulfilled. That doesn't mean it's not going to be shitty sometimes, but it does mean that it's not just all shitty.
Right.
So
leading with love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Appreciate
So
that.
that's the message that we're leaving. Much love and blessings on your path. And everybody out there, please stay tuned. We got a lot more content coming for you. And we're leaving you with that message. Just, live in love, lead with love. Love is the way. Love is the medicine. And like, follow, share, hit that notification bell, all the things. We'll be sharing our links below. Stay tuned. Thank you so
much. My name is Light. We arise upon the first light, rays of the sun, to embrace the morning light of victory we have won.